Former House Speaker Dennis Hastert now faces federal charges of lying to the FBI and evading banking regulations. According to the federal indictment, Hastert agreed to pay $3.5 million to someone as hush money for past misconduct dating back to his time as a teacher and wrestling coach at Yorkville High in Yorkville, Illinois. And late this afternoon, a federal law enforcement official told NBC News the payments were made to conceal sexual misconduct, while the person in question asking for the money was a student at the high school where Hastert taught. Joining us now, Harvard law professor and Newsmax blogger Alan Dershowitz. Alan is the author of the book Terror Tunnels, The Case for Israel's Just War Against Hamas. Alan, this is shocking. And as we try to deal with it, whatever Denny is alleged to have done in private life, he was being blackmailed. And so some people are saying, wait a minute, the feds have chosen to indict someone who appears to be a victim here.
Well, according to the indictment, he's both a perpetrator and a victim. That is, he may have been a perpetrator 30, 40 years ago, but has been a continuing victim of a blackmail scheme. I think there are two lessons to be learned from this. First, never, ever, ever pay blackmail. They'll always get you. The person who you pay it to always owns you, and now the federal government owns you. Second is, don't allow these structuring statutes to be used in the way the federal government uses them. Structuring statutes were intended to prevent money laundering, to prevent drug dealing, to prevent income tax evasion. Here, Hastert is not charged with doing anything illegal. Paying hush money is not illegal. He didn't want anybody to know about it, so he took money out in small amounts so the banks wouldn't report it. That is not within the heartland of what this statute was intended to cover. And then to have an indictment, which essentially reveals that which Hastert was trying to conceal, puts the government in the position of essentially being part of the blackmail. And it's just not right. It's an abuse of prosecutorial discretion to use the federal government structuring statute to try to go after somebody who was trying to solve a rather personal problem where the statute of limitations has long expired.
So you're saying it's prosecutorial overreach and a failure to use prosecutorial discretion. Now, I'm no lawyer, Alan, but I am a recovering member of Congress, and sometimes the whole political dynamic seems to enter into this. Do you think that politics is afoot in any way in this case?
I don't know the motives of the prosecutors. It may just be an overzealous prosecutor, but the federal government has a remarkable lack of success in these kinds of cases. They have about a 95% win rate in ordinary cases, but when they go after politicians, whether it be Tom DeLay, or whether it be the governor, the senator from Alaska, or several other of these high-profile cases, they lose them all. And I suspect they're going to lose this one. Maybe they'll get him on failing to tell the truth to the FBI, but there again, he was just trying to protect his own secrecy and his own privacy. The question is not whether he committed any crimes. Technically, he may have committed a structuring crime. The question is whether the prosecutors abused their discretion by using federal charges to go after this private event that occurred years ago. And as you put it so well, in that respect, he was really a victim, if the story is true, of extortion. I think we have to presume everybody innocent. We have to presume him innocent. You have to presume the young man innocent of the extortion charge. You have to presume Hastert innocent of the initial charges of sexual misconduct. Let the evidence be produced. But this is not what the federal law was intended to cover, and I think it's abuse of prosecutorial discretion.
And Alan, quite properly, we talk about everyone being entitled to the presumption of innocence. And yet questions exist about the possible blackmailer. You can see a line of perhaps criminal jeopardy for him. For example, did he declare the money he received from Hastert on his taxes? There could be charges yet brought against him, could there not? Or do you expect the prosecutor to turn in state's evidence very quickly and go after Denny?
I think they're going to go after Denny. I suspect maybe they made a deal with the blackmailer. That's done all the time. The first rule of committing crime in America is always commit a crime with someone more important than you are, so you can turn him in and he can't turn you in. And that's the way the system, unfortunately, works. And congressmen are, if not at the top of the heap, very close to the top of the heap, even former congressmen, former speakers, who you go after. This case just smells. It doesn't pass the test. And I'm shocked that a prosecutor would allow this kind of case to be brought, knowing that it would reveal the secrets, that it would open doors up to things that are alleged to have occurred almost half a century ago. What's the evidence? What's the proof? This is not a case that should have been brought in federal court.
Alan, if Dennis Hastert were your client, how would you defend him? We have about a minute 15 left.
Well, I have to know what the facts are before you know whether to defend. Sometimes you defend, you win in the court of law, but you lose in the court of public opinion. So you'd have to sit down with your client and decide what he regarded as a victory, what he regarded as a loss, how much of his background does he want to protect, how much is he prepared to reveal. Those are very, very hard questions when you sit down with a client. And so you can't judge what a lawyer would do or should do until you know the whole story. And I don't know the whole story, but I know enough to judge the prosecutors. And the prosecutor should not have brought a federal indictment based on the evidence that has been suggested thus far in the indictment itself.
Alan Dershowitz, we appreciate your legal analysis here, and we thank you for your insights. Alan, again, the author of Terror Tunnels, the case for Israel's just war against Hamas. Obviously, this news about Dennis Hastert, and as further details are made known, continues to elicit strong comments. I'm interested in yours. You can send me your comments via email to Newsmax Prime at newsmaxtv.com. There's also Facebook and Twitter, and don't forget our website. You can go to newsmax.com/comments. I'd like to have your comments. We're coming back.